Hello. How you guys doing today? Thursday, I think. Hope. 6:30? 6:30. Hi, Maureen. I think Ted, I think you're on here. Marianne? Marianne? All right, let's get started. So, go ahead and start a nice easy gear. I get started on my comfy chair. All right, nice easy gear, unless you've already warmed up a bit, and you can ride more aerobically. Every minute or so, shift to a harder gear. Menta, are you on here? All right, so we did this workout several weeks ago. We did versions of it. And I'm curious to see how it feels today because the last 3 Thursdays, I think have been 3 of the harder Thursdays. I'm curious to see if this feels easier than it did in the past. Essentially, the main set is 8 sets. We're going to go 45 seconds hard to very hard. And we're going to take a minute recovery. And then we're going to ride a minute 30 aerobically. So what is that? Total of 3:15 per set. My math is right. So, what does it say? If you're tired, if you're coming off a big workout, then when we do the 8 by 45 seconds hard, then what I want you to do is to do those 45 seconds with high cadence, but moderate to light resistance in your legs. So that'll work more as a recovery, and you can also work on your cadence. For the rest of you who are ready to get a hard, sweaty workout in, when I say we'll go 45 seconds hard, very hard, basically you want to feel that level of lactate build up in your legs, that soreness. May not happen on the first 2. It'll happen more as we get to 7 and 8. And it'll also happen, less in the first 15 seconds, more in the last 15 seconds. So as we build through it. Okay, we're doing 10-minute warm up like normal. Keep switching to slightly harder gears to bring up the intensity. Then we're going to do 3 times 45 seconds. I almost said 45 minutes. 45 seconds of low cadence with 45 seconds recovery. So we'll start off. First one will be just kind of moderate, and then the next 2 will get a little bit harder. If you are fatigued, you can keep those all at a moderate level. So we're going to work on low cadence. I'll give you some tips as to why we're doing that and what to look for. Then we'll jump into the main set. Hi, Patricia. Patricia, I got the Pele's pirate shirt on. All right, so go ahead and bump it up a gear just to bring up your intensity slightly. Remember, we're still warming up. And then in a short minute here, I have to calibrate my comfort trainer so you guys can just keep spinning easily. If any of you guys leave your bike on your trainer long term, I would say after every ride, take the tension off the roller in the back. And then maybe like once a week, pump up the tire pressure. I usually ride around 95, 100, but just keep it to whatever you're right at. That'll keep that tension consistent. But take the tension off the roller, and even the parts that go on the sides, I'm going to release that tension after each ride too. You can still keep the bike on, just take all that tension off. So this weekend, I am going over to Port Angeles to ride Hurricane Ridge. It's a total of 40 miles, 17 miles uphill. I think you go to 5,200 something feet. So I had a friend who did it a couple weeks ago. Said it took her 2 hours to get up and 35 minutes to get down. So that's Sunday. So we'll see how tired I am on Monday. All right, 6 minutes in, so go ahead and shift to a harder gear to bring that intensity up. I broke down, and you can't see it in this picture, but those Mitsubishi heatless AC heater units, and the one right up here. My wife's been working next door in the other bedroom. It's a new office. And upstairs, old house, so it gets really hot in here in the summer and really cold in the winter. So this is her yoga studio. So she's been having the AC on to keep that other room a little bit cold, even though the air doesn't really travel very well outside that door. But it does help. So it was on this morning, so I left it on. So I'm feeling kind of soft, but it also feels pretty good. So I got a fan going, blowing some cold air around. If I was training for Kona, I would have to turn the heater on and make it like a humid environment, but why torture myself? So anyway, that's what's going on with me enjoying the cold air. It's not even that hot, right? I mean, it's, what is it, going to be 80 something today? It's hot for Seattleites. My relatives in Chico think it's 100, 102 every day, all week. All right, let's go ahead and bring up the intensity a little bit. So you need to do that by shifting gears or bring up the cadence. Remember, we're still working aerobically. Your breathing shouldn't be too hard. All right, let's make our way to our big chain ring in our easiest big chain ring gear. So I'm going to shift 3 clicks easier on my right side before going to my big chain ring, and then 1 or 2 clicks easier on my right side. Now remember, your easiest gear in your big chain ring means there's 2 gears next to your wheel, next to your spokes, that you're not using, because that would make it cross gears. So if you look back, you want to see 1 open gear, and then 1 open right next to the chain, and then your chain. So make sure you're there. And then we're going to do 45 seconds low cadence. So when we start, you may need to shift to a harder gear. Remember, we want to keep the effort level moderate. So this is not like a huge leg buster. So I'll probably switch maybe 2 gears harder. Ready, here we go. So go ahead and switch your gears. Like 3 gears harder. Okay. Cadence should be like between 60 and 70. I'm 68 right now if you're matching my legs. Tension on the pedals should be fairly heavy, but I don't want a lot of buildup in your legs. So here's what I want you to concentrate on. Elongate your spine, push your butt into your seat, and then feel your pedal come through the bottom of the pedal stroke. And what we want to do is take the tension off from the top to 3, from 12 to 3. So focus on sweeping around. Okay, recover now. So you can either go to the small chain ring, nice and easy. You can stay in that easy big chain ring here. Okay, so recovery, just keep the legs moving. So they're very light tension, if any. So think about that gear you were in last time and maybe go 1 gear harder next time. So let's get back to where we were. So let's move back in that big chain ring. Nice, clean shifting. Think about the gear you were in. We're going to bring up the intensity just a little bit, but it's still not super hard. Okay, here we go, 45 seconds. Okay, same thing. Work on your posture. Bring your belly button to your spine. Elongate your spine. If you find yourself just pushing down like I am, you can see this jumping. We want to make that smoother by engaging our core and pulling through the bottom of the pedal stroke. We want to feel that pedal stroke. This type of riding, especially engagement of the spine and sweeping through the bottom, will teach you how to engage your glutes when cycling, and you'll get more power. All right, recover. So you need to do that in the easy big chainring gear or the small chainring. Spin it out. Okay, next one we'll go 1 gear harder. Again, it's not, we still want to keep this in a more moderate, maybe slightly moderately hard effort, not a super hard effort. We're just trying to engage the pedal stroke so that when we ride in our normal way, we can have a more fluid pedal stroke. All right, here we go, last one. So let's go, shift your gears. So you might also notice that your cadence is probably lower by going up to a harder gear. I'm at 59, 60, 61. Even if you try just pushing down 12 to 3, see that jumpiness that happens? So you can use that too when you're out cycling. You're jumping around a lot. Your pedal stroke's probably not very efficient. All right, recover. Okay, get some water, towel off if you need to. All right, so for those of you who are recovering, need a light workout, we start into these 45 seconds. I want you to do a moderate pedal tension, high cadence, so above 95, closer to 100, maybe above 100. Try to eliminate any jumping around. So if you feel yourself jumping around, you need to work on your form or go to one gear harder. And for the rest of us who are going hard, we're going hard right out of the gate. Okay, so here we are. We can go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So get into big chain ring, hit your cadence up, and then start shifting gears. For these kind of efforts, your cadence will probably be around 80. You can also keep them at 90. Just make sure that you have that where it starts to get hard, where you start to breathe hard, where you stop being able to talk. Concentration becomes more. And remember, you can shift gears in these 45 seconds if needed. You can see already in my voice, I need to take more breath. All right, 3, 2, 1, recover. So maybe one shift harder on the right, small chain ring, adjust the back, nice and smooth. Take some deep breaths. Keep the legs moving. Pedal tension should be really light. That first one wasn't so bad. I think because literally, for those of you guys who've done the last 2, 3 Thursdays, I know we had like 5 minutes of work. Not all of it was hard, but you know, our effort was, I felt like it was harder. So we'll see how the rest of these go. All right, we're gonna go to 1 minute and 30 aerobic. So we're gonna get into that 70% FTP. We're gonna get into that gear of choice. So if you know your gear of choice is, go ahead and get there now. Here we go. We want our cadence to be 90 for sure here. We want the effort level to be moderate. Should be able to easily have a conversation, but we're still working a little bit. So your gear of choice is that gear that you find yourself riding in. When you're riding kind of comfortably, but you're still riding, not riding slow, you're not riding super fast, but it's the speed that you probably gravitate towards when you're out by yourself. And your cadence should definitely be above 90. So if you find yourself out riding and you're in that gear of choice and you're not at 90, we need to work on bringing your cadence up. Okay, here requires very little concentration. Shouldn't even require concentration to keep your cadence above 90. If it does, then you probably need to go one gear easier. And if your breathing starts to rise to the level where it starts to become more, your talking becomes intermittent, you're probably also in too hard of the gear. All right. Number 2 is coming up quick. 10 seconds. We're gonna go hard. So you're not already in the big chain ring, you might want to get there and get to an easy gear. And you can stand up on the pedals if you need to. Here we go, number 2. So sometimes I shift to a harder gear and stand up, just 4 or 5 pedal strokes, sit down, get some more power. Here, you have a lot of concentration on keeping the power going. Unless you're spinning easy, in which case you're just working on your cadence. The rest of us, start to feel the burn. Five more seconds. All right, recover. So easy, small chain ring, nice and easy. Nice job. 2 down. All right, so those of you guys who are going hard in the 45 seconds, a couple ways to get into it. One is to really get your cadence up and then switch to a harder gear. Keep your cadence up, switch to a harder gear. Find that spot you want to be at. Another way is to maybe shift 2 or 3 gears harder, stand up like I did that last time. And when you sit down, you'll have more power. Okay, minute 30 aerobic, ready, here we go. So your gear of choice, sometimes it's in your small chain ring, probably one of your harder gears. Remember again, if you're in your small chain ring, your hardest gear you should use leaves 2 gears not used. Okay, because if you use that very small last outside gear in your small chain ring, your chain sits like this, and it's cross chain, and it stretches your chain. So if you move, if my elbow is the gear in the back, and I move it this way, you can see how that chain is more straight versus here. The same thing on the big chain ring. When you're in the big chain ring, and then your elbow is, if my elbow is the gear closest to the wheel, then I look like, my chain looks like this, and it's getting overstretched. So if I shift in, it's like that. And then I can shift all the way down, and it's like that. So that range right there is keeping your chain straight. Okay, remember we're aerobic here. So one thing that happens when I talk, I can see my cadence drops. So for those of you who feel like these 45 seconds are going pretty quick, go ahead and put in a little more effort. That'll make them feel like they don't go so fast. Ready? Number 3, here we go. You really want to get to a place where by the time you hit 30, 35 seconds, you're really just like counting down that last 10 seconds. Come on. Please get here. All right, recover. Yeah. So those should feel a little bit like strength training, doing like squats, or especially if you've ever done seated leg presses. And you know that feeling, like your quads is a lot of heaviness. For those of you going hard, you should also feel like a nice audible sigh of relief when it's done. Maybe 30 seconds into recovery, you're still taking some big breaths. Monday is more of an aerobic workout. All right, here we go. Minute 30 aerobic, ready to go. So your choice, the big chain ring or small chain ring. Let's just make sure your cadence is above 90. Effort should be moderate. If you want to make the workout a little bit harder, you can take this aerobic to the upper end of the aerobic, in which case you probably find 2 gears that you're toggling between. The harder gear, your cadence would be around 88, and then the easier gear, your cadence would be around 93. And then you'll feel your effort sort of vacillate as well. When the breathing just starts to become a little bit harder, go to that easier gear. So this would still keep you aerobic, but it put you at the upper end of your aerobic instead of in the middle. And by doing so, It means when we go into the 45 seconds hard to very hard, your heart rate's already a little bit more elevated. So it'll make that 45 seconds a little bit harder. Okay, we're going on 3, 2, 1, go. Number 4. So think about riding a hill, and you're riding it a little bit harder than just trying to survive it. Maybe you're trying to keep up with a friend. Maybe you're trying to drop a friend. Even though if you do drop that friend, you say, oh, sorry, I wasn't trying to drop you. But really you were. 5 seconds. All right, recover. Whew. So I can definitely feel the heaviness start to happen more and quicker on number 4. Whew. I think I'm getting a good sweat because I'm starting to sweat through my arms and I have a cold air blowing. So I think if I didn't have a cold air blowing, I'd really be sweating. Hopefully you guys have a fan on you. All right, halfway done. All right, minute and a half aerobic coming up in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Yeah, it's really focused on a good solid 90 plus cadence. With good posture, good form. Light fingers, slight bend in the elbow, belly button slightly pulled in, spine elongated. Good, actually, this is a good, like, let yourself kind of, let your core collapse, let your position kind of collapse, let your weight collapse in your hands. You'll probably notice that your cadence drops a little bit. And then go through your cues, bring your belly button in, elongate your spine, and then see if you notice your cadence rise. For me, it's automatic. Now I gotta do a music change. All right, we're going in 8 seconds. Number 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 45 seconds. All right, recover. Well, I'd say it still is hard. Those last couple weeks are different. I think maybe not as hard a little bit, but whenever you ride hard like that, it's gonna feel hard. Got a bike maintenance tip for you. So every once in a while, take an Allen wrench where your big chain ring connects to your small chain ring. There's 5 bolts, 5 on the outside, and just check those. The other day, several of mine were loose, and that's probably something you'd only need to check like once every 5 months. But I just check it. Okay, here we go. Not right now. It's a minute and a half aerobic. Maybe when you get done, it's probably like a number 5 Allen wrench. You don't, if it is loose, you don't have to crank on it. Just like 2 fingers around your Allen wrench until it stops. You don't have to just keep cranking on it. Okay, minute and a half aerobic, 25 seconds in. Keep your cadence above 90. We got 5 down. We got 3 left. On this next one, let's try it like this. Every 10 seconds, you're going to shift to a harder gear. So it's going to raise the intensity. So we'll start off. You're going to need to get in the big chain ring and probably be at least 1 or 2 gears harder than your easy big chain gear. Unless you're doing recovery rides, keep it at easy cadence. So we'll switch initially maybe 2 gears, 1 gear, and then every 10 seconds we'll switch a gear harder. Let's try that. I'll count you through it. We're going on 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So maybe 1 gear change harder. If it doesn't feel that hard, bring your cadence up. That'll increase the intensity. Okay, here we go. 1 more gear harder. Same thing. If it doesn't feel super hard, bring your cadence up. All right, 1 more harder gear. Whew. So as we get into these gears, your cadence is probably going to drop. All right, 1 more gear harder now. If you need to stand up, stand up. And then 1 more gear change coming up. 3, 2, 1 for 5 seconds. All right, recover. So for me personally, I probably could have started 1 gear harder. So that's one way to do it. If you're looking to just kind of break things up, you can also try keeping your cadence at 90. Try to find the hardest gear you can, but still be at 90. Guarantee you'll work hard in that. Or you can select to go to lower cadences, maybe stand up a little bit more. Either way, all of those are going to make it difficult. And that's what we're going for. All right, I think that's 5. Is that 5 or is that 6? Might have been 6. Anybody know? I'm calling it 6. Yeah, I'm calling it 6 based on the time. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, minute and a half aerobic. All right, your concentration here is effort, moderate, maybe creeping up to moderately hard, and keeping the cadence above 90. Maybe even try to find that place where you're at 92, 93, and you go 1 gear harder, and then it requires concentration to stay at 90. And then as that breathing rate becomes too much, click down to the easier gear. Sweaty. All right, we're going on 15 seconds. 2 left. Make them count. 5 seconds. 2. Ready? Go time. Okay, recover. Whew. Remember, 1 bottle an hour on these harder workouts. Wouldn't be uncommon to go through a full bottle in 45 minutes. So sometimes you can just take a look at where you're at, and if you're not where you need to be, drink a little more. You know, when you're halfway through, or like you're outside riding, you're 30 minutes. If you're not 50% of the way through your bottle, drink a little more. If it's super hot and super humid, you might have to drink more than 1 bottle an hour. All right, then 30 aerobic. And we got 1 more. Oh man, you guys see that? My ear piece fell out. Come on, work. All right, keep it aerobic. Pace above 90. My big challenge, see if I can keep my cadence up while I connect my Bluetooth. Come on, dude. Oh well. Gonna have to do the rest, no music. That sucks. Shoot. All right, last one. Ready? Here we go. I have to sing in my head, I guess. 45 seconds. Three, 2, 1, recover. Ay, ay, ay. Nice, easy recovery. Easiest gear you want. Just keep your legs moving. Whew. It's a lot quieter in here without music. Hopefully you're listening to some music, not just me. Whew. So looks like we're gonna end up a little north of 45 minutes. Maybe in the 47 range. I always try to keep between 45 and 50. If you want to do more, best thing would be to get on 10 minutes early, 10, 15 minutes early, right aerobically. Okay, minute and a half aerobic. You can also extend the end of the workout. Just anytime you extend it, make sure it's aerobic. But I also hope that after 45 minutes, you're kind of feeling like you had enough. I can still feel my breath recovering. That happens as you get to more reps. The fatigue deepens. Okay, start our recovery. Let's go. Easiest gear in big chain ring. Remember that means there's 2 gears you're not using. And then let's just let our cadence be maybe around 80 or so. Looks like Patricia and Marianne, you agree with me. That was great. I like the short, hard intervals. You like those compared to the ones last week? That means I'm going to make you do the others. Yeah, I think we'll mix them all up, but I know what you mean. Mentally, you're like, yes, I know it's going to end. Easier mentally, I think. All right, we're going to make a change from here to the small chain ring. And this happens a lot. You're out, you're riding down the road, you're in this fairly easy gear with the big chain ring, but you want it to become a little bit easier. And initially, people just switch the front derailleur and it drops into this gear that jumps too many gears, and your knees just go, and it's like they get ripped out. So let's work on a smoother transition. Then if you take a peek at what gear you're in, the middle of your cog set is here, you're over here. When we switch, we want to end up more in the middle of the cog set. So what are we going to do? We're going to switch. Let's go 4 gears harder. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's go small chain ring. And you see how smooth that is? And then for me, I'm this side of the middle, so I can go 1 gear easier back that way. And now I'm right in the middle. And that was a nice smooth change. So typically, before I switch the big chain ring, I switch the back between 1 and 3 times, and then I do the front derailleur, and then a lot of times I will adjust with the back derailleur. And all that happens pretty quickly. So let's try one more going up. So let's go down 2 gears harder. So if you look back, this is where you'd be riding more or less if you wanted to go in the big chain ring. You're in the small chain ring, and you're in one of your harder gears in the small chain ring, or in the cog set. So small chain ring, if you look back, your cassette choice is going to be out here rather than the middle. But if we just go to the big chain ring, it's going to be massively hard. So what we want to do is we want to shift the back more where we want to end up. So let's go 3 clicks on the right side, easier, and then big chain ring. And the more, they don't happen exactly at the same time, but as soon as this one's done, this one fires. Okay, ready? Go. So easier, 1, 2, 3, big chain. And that's a smoother jump. Okay, so now let's go back the other way. Let's go 3, 1, 2, 3, small chain. Nice and smooth. And then you need to adjust. Maybe you go easier, maybe you go harder. All right. Any way to stack it, let's get in the small chain ring. Let's get in the middle of your gear set. If you look back, we're going to do nice, easy spinning for 1 minute, 45 seconds to cool down. Grab your water, towel off. For any of you who are hesitant or afraid to change your big chain ring, small chain ring, your front derailleur, it's because you're not making that adjustment in the back. And so when you do change it, it's either shockingly way too easy and your knees feel like they get ripped out, or it's way too hard and you just go into this massively hard gear, you can barely turn the pedals over. So when your brain says, well, changing the front derailleur is hard, it doesn't work for me, right? But it's just a matter of using the rear derailleur in conjunction with the front derailleur, and then your shifting becomes smoother. And then you don't mind switching out and the big chain ring, small chain ring. Mercer Island is a fantastic place with all the undulations to just, and Mercer Island, actually a lot of times the way it undulates, you can keep your cog set in the middle of the chain and then back to the cogs and just change your front to rear derailleur a lot of times because of the way the road changes, it takes up that gearing slack. The Mercer Island is a fantastic place to just constantly be switching big chain ring, small chain ring, big chain ring, small chain ring. Basically, every time you start going downhill, make your adjustments to get in your big chain ring. Once you go uphill, just back to your small chain ring. And it's fantastic practice for using both in conjunction. All right, enough of me. 30 seconds, super easy. Maybe even go to an easier gear. Let your legs slow down. Hey, look at that. 47 minutes, just like that. Nice job, everyone. That's why doing a workout's great, right? Whether it's swimming, running, I mean, sometimes it's great to not do a workout, but sometimes you do a workout, it goes by really fast. All right, have a great day. Enjoy the sunshine. While we have it, I'll talk to you later.